Right. Hello. This is my third YouTube video. It's been quite a while since the first two, and the first one was just an introduction to the channel. So, I'm gonna get straight on with it because I don't want to do like a really long video, and a lot of it just be waffle. So, today, this one's mainly gonna be just about motivation for people between the ages of, I'd say, 14 to 19, in terms of, I'm going to go from secondary school to college to what you want to do in the future, like your plans for the rest of your life. Yeah, so starting with secondary school, I think a lot of the worry and demotivation from secondary school comes from exams. I feel like a lot of it is exams, and then I feel like partially it may be a bit about like the GCSEs you've chosen and how you're performing in those GCSEs. And I think the main thing to note is that it's really like, it's perfectly normal to have the GCSEs that you don't perform the best in, and then ones that you excel in. That's kind of, I think the way it works for a lot of people is you have two that you mainly like do better in, and then two that you do worse, and then kind of like they feel like filler subjects. But I think it's important to know that you're not expected to do perfectly in every GCSE. I think this is kind of like base knowledge, so obviously the main ones you want to do good in would be the maths, the English, and science. And then the two that relate to what you want to do in college, I think, is very important, because not usually, college courses, or not in college, if you're thinking of going into an apprenticeship or anything, they tend to have less requirements in terms of, what you need to do. But specifically thinking about college, you tend to have the kind of basis of, you need to have this certain GCSE. Say for environmental science, in my college I only needed to pass science, but it would help if you say you didn't pass science but you got like a 9 in geography, or you got like, your school did some sort of environmental studies, because I know they've introduced that as a GCSE in certain schools. If you like exceeded in that, they do not let you off, but they do like make negotiations with you, and a lot of the time you can actually get the course you want to do based on different subjects. So it's important to know that it's not over if you've failed a subject. You can retake. And in terms of retaking something like maths or English in college, obviously it's a bit of a burden. It's quite annoying, but it is not the end of the world by any means. There's definitely, it's nowhere near the length of like a full college course. You don't need to wait a year to retake it. You tend to do it in, I'm not sure when. I think so. You join college in September. I think you retake it like 5 months after. I think it's quite a short period, or less, maybe 4. But anyway, that's besides the point. In terms of staying motivated for your exams, the best thing you can do is think about the requirements for your college and how you can punch through the ceiling of what you need to get. And then you can show, and a lot of the time, if you have a teacher that's like you don't like, instead of shunning them and thinking like, well, I don't like this teacher, why should I try in their class? You should show them that you're not going to let their bad teaching ruin your career, not your career, your like future in college, or your future in general. Like, if you do a really important subject for what you want to do and your teacher for it sucks, then you need to show that teacher that you don't need them specifically to excel in that subject. And it goes hand in hand for teachers that are amazing. Like, you could have an amazing teacher for a subject. You then should want to show them that their teaching has paid off and that their hard work and the fact that they want you to succeed has paid off well. And I think the best way to do that is to just try your hardest, even when things, outside of school get a bit difficult. I think it's quite important to know that as long as you can keep up what you're doing, a lot of the time it does get better. When things tend to fall down, they always come back up. It's kind of like it's a game of highs and lows. It is important to know that a lot of the times when life goes low, it feels lower than when it goes high. Like when you're at like a high in your life, it feels nowhere near as like vital to your life as the low points in your life. I feel like that's quite important to know as well. And especially in terms of like, if you know that when you're younger, you kind of take that when you get older and you realize that it's like you can prepare yourself so you don't hit the floor and stay there. You want to hit the floor and bounce straight back up. Right, and pretty much that's what you want to do with most things. When you feel really demotivated about something or you feel like you're going down, you want to go back up as soon as you can. And it's easier said than done, but in terms of day-to-day life, you find what makes you happiest and what makes you feel fulfilled, and you make sure you're prioritizing that. And when you're doing that, and a lot of the time that tends to be schoolwork, like if you're feeling down, a lot of the time it goes in correlation with how much work you're getting done or how much homework you haven't done, anything like that. So this is pretty much both for secondary school and college. In terms of with exams, revision is a lot of the time almost more stressful than the exam. I feel like there's so much stress about when you're going to start revising that you beat yourself up about not revising, and then by the time the exam comes, it's already really late and you've done pretty much no revision. So the best kind of thing you can do for that is to just stay like in a kind of constant, like mellowed out tone of small bits of revision. Make sure you remember stuff like a topic that you're less confident about. Start with that early on, so if it does come to the point where you feel like you haven't done too much revision, at least you've covered a broad kind of basis and there's no topics that you completely do not know. And if you know anything's guaranteed to come up in an exam, that's very important to do. In terms of actual college life or school life, your day-to-day stuff, waking up early, doing your whole day, finishing relatively late, and then going home. It feels insanely repetitive and a lot of the time quite tedious. But it is something you have to do if you want to, I say succeed, kind of like you don't, success is based on what you want it to be. You can live in a cheap house but be happy if you know you're fulfilled, you're doing the job you love, and you're with the people you love. That means everything, as opposed to if you're in a £1 million house with no friends, you're doing a job you hate, and you have nothing going for you. Success is how you determine it. It's not like, something determined by outside factors to an extent. So taking that, knowing that, like, being worried about not being successful in like everyday school or college is not going to help your case at all. If you're looking at how you're doing in a subject and you're like, oh no, I'm not going to be successful in this field, or oh no, I'm like not doing as well as I should, it's not going to help your case at all. You can look at yourself doing worse and be like, okay, I'm not doing as well as I like to, can I take this and change it? There's clearly got to be something I can do better to be able to perform at a higher level, get more marks in papers, understand the topics more, and just have a broader variety of everything. But I mean, I can't make these videos too long because, I'd be talking for hours, and right now I'm recording on my phone. I do not have the storage for that. It's taken me about an hour to do these short videos because I keep having to offload apps and then edit a bunch of stuff to do, so my phone has the storage to do it, but that's irrelevant. So if you have watched all the way here, thank you so much. I know you're probably just someone I know, because not really random people finding this, but I mean, I'm hoping something is going to help someone at any point watching these videos. It could be like a year down the line and someone just randomly comes across something like this. But either way, appreciate you, even if you're doing it for jokes, watching this far in the video. Appreciate it, because it's getting the views slightly up if I get any. But yeah, thank you for tuning into the third video, and I'm hoping to cover more topics like around this kind of like school motivation stuff. And I think my next one's going to be future motivation, what you do after school and college, what you want to do with your life, and how you can get into like your plan for the future. So again, thank you very much, and hopefully see you guys soon.